Hello there, and welcome to Danny Pereira. This is my channel. I am Danny. Me and the channel are one. Um, I started this channel to help others through some of the more difficult parts of their life. I want to help people get through the crap, the bad breakups, the parents kicking me out, the bad stuff in life that when you're young, or even if you're older, the stuff that is just sometimes just seems like it's too much to deal with, too much to bear, too hard. I have a pretty extensive background in the situation. When I was younger, when I was a kid, I had three different sets of parents raise me. None of them being foster parents. My birth parents split up when I was young, and then my maternal grandparents raised me for a little bit, and then my dad came back in the picture and remarried, and it wasn't great. It wasn't great, but you learn to sort of deal with it. And as a kid, that's hard. That's some of the hardest lessons to learn. But what's even more difficult is when the lessons that they should have taught you they don't work. They don't happen. And now you're 18, 19, 20, trying to face a world where you don't even know the rules. So I understand the difficulty that can come, especially being younger, and I also understand the difficulties of growing older with it, and the complexities of relationships and trying to figure out where you belong in the world. So this channel is a channel to help people figure out what they need to do to take that next step. Um, and to start, I figure I'd share some of my experience, what happened when I was younger, um, my thought processes, and how I sort of maneuvered through it. Um, I'm in the process of writing a book that's also sort of kind of goes a little bit more into the adventure side of things. And I understand that not everyone can do what I did. But I also think that there's a solution out there for everyone. And when you find people who are, they recognize your path, they want to help you on your path. I think that is it's worthwhile. It's worth listening. It's worth hearing what they have to say. Um, so let's begin. So I started when I was younger, in my 20s, my early 20s. I was spent a lot of time trying to figure out what I wanted to do. Did some time in sales, did some time in restaurant management. Um, and then I sort of kind of just, as I got older, I sort of kind of was just, 24, 25, I was just over it. I went through and I sort of knew I wanted to travel some. I wanted to try to find a job that would allow for a little bit more flexibility in travel. So I went out and got CDL, used it for maybe not even a month before I was like, yeah, this might not be the ticket. But in that time that I used it, just an overbearing sense of like restlessness, I think probably the right word, right? And saying, hey, isn't what I want with my life. Um, and so I was in a truck stop. I'll never forget. I was out near Granite City, which is out on the outskirts of St. Louis, and they had a movie on. And in this movie, Andy Rudd's character, and I believe it was Jennifer Aniston, they had found a commune and filled with a bunch of hippies. I thought that's such a ridiculous idea. But and that sort of kind of got me wondering, got me thinking, right? Is there maybe an easier way of living? I had a couple $1,000s saved up at that point in time, and figuring maybe it would be easier to just go and trade my labor for something different, almost like a work trade. So it got me thinking, got me. I went to the truck that night, was laying down in bed, and then someone kind of stumbled across something called woofing. Woofing allows you to trade your labor for a accommodations essentially for room and board. Obviously, farm to farm, place to place, determines, they just sort of kind of determine what they're willing to provide for you, and it's on you to negotiate and figure out what exactly you want to do, and also figure out that's in your skill set, right? So went through, and then I started thinking to myself, well, where would I want to do this at? Where would I want to do this whole work trading thing? Is it better to do it someplace, in near home, in the mountains, maybe in North Carolina? Would it be better to do it someplace else, maybe someplace tropical, or maybe go into someplace like Texas, where a place I've always been curious about. Just never had the real reason to stop for longer than an evening there. So I said to myself, you know what? I think if I wanted to do it, I wanted to be near the beach. I wanted to be near an island, maybe. So, and for the first time in my life, I really sort of kind of gave Hawaii a chance, if you will, and said to myself, you know what? Let me see what this is like. Let me see if Hawaii is someplace that I couldn't start some roots. So I went home back to North Carolina. So I turned in the truck and whatnot after a month, and essentially went to them and went back to my grandparents' house and said, "Hey, this is what I'm thinking about. I'm going to file my taxes. I got a couple $1,000 saved up. I would love to see if maybe this is my ticket." So I went through, filed the taxes. I think I got another like $2,000, $3,000 back on it. This is, mind you, 10, 12 years ago at this point, and got the money back and said my goodbyes and sold off a lot of my stuff and said, "Hey, you know what? Like, let's just roll the dice on it. Worst comes to worst, I'm not gonna be any more unhappy than I am right now, right?" And it ended up being one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life, right? Ups and downs the first time I went out there. Started seeing someone, very complex situation with a relationship. Um, but the people that I encountered and the people that I met along the way sort of kind of helped me find my path. So if there's anything I want you to sort of kind of take away from this first video, it's find the path. It isn't necessarily your path and your neighbor's path aren't going to be the same. Your neighbor and your best friend's path aren't going to be the same. Occasionally, you'll find a path where both of you will walk it for a couple miles, and then you deviate, and then you go one way, you go the other. Great thing now is that you can still keep in contact. But what that did that first adventure out there was it sort of kind of opened up my eyes, seeing that there was more out there than just dreading where I was at and just hating my circumstances in which I was living. And that to me was the most important thing, right? Which was, hey, look, like you can live someplace else, experience a whole different lifestyle. And for me, I didn't even have to leave the country, right? I just went to Hawaii. But that one way flight was, I want to say back then, maybe 350, maybe $400. Flew into Kona. I was on Big Island, right? And with that, the people that you meet, right? They help you. Most first and foremost, when you go to someplace like Hawaii, people are going to recognize that you're trying to find a new path, and a lot of them there will actually be able to help you. And that's another thing I want you to take away, right? Is that when you leave and you move and you go to a different place, in your mind, you think it's going to be impossible to make friends, impossible to find people who are similar to you or share your similar ideals. Some places, yeah, it will be. If you're going from New York City to a small rural town, yeah, you probably are going to find issues with people who are sort of see the world the same way you do. The flip side is eventually you will. Eventually, everywhere you go, there are people who are like-minded. I think that social media has done a great job thinking that everyone's super divided. In my experience with people, we're really not. I think your average man wants to see their neighbor succeed. Um, but getting back to the main point of what I was saying is, you're going to find people who are going to be willing to help you, who are going to take you under their wing and say, "Hey, it's all right. I'm going to share some of my experiences with you." That would be them to you, and say, "This is how we're going to get there. This is how we're going to increase your potential. This is how we're going to get you to that next stage." Um, for 10 years, I went back and forth. I would spend a couple months here and there, always on Big Island, always on, sometimes different parts. I think I went and spent, first couple of years I was in Hilo side, working a couple of different places. And then I went up to Waimea, up in the cowboy country up there. Working on a farm up there, and for a little bit when I was up there, I also spent time working on restoring a native Hawaiian forest. Um, and then I ended up working my way into Kona, and met up with a couple of great individuals on Kona side who the people I met in Kona side, they're the ones who really launched me into a more positive mindset, a bigger understanding, a better ability to deal with my problems. You know. And I will say this, if there was a third thing I want you to take out of this video, is this. The ability to deal with your problems is the greatest skill you can ever achieve, right? It's not saying that you aren't going to have difficult problems. It's not saying that every problem has the same solution. It's saying when a problem arises, your ability to internalize, realize what the solution needs to be, and then execute said solution is imperative. I think that some of us, especially millennials and the younger generations, we tend to let our problems consume us. We tend to say, oh my God, we can't do this. Everything's falling apart. We're screwed. When in actuality, it just comes down to stopping, brainstorming, talking to people sometimes even. And sometimes your best friends, your family, they're not, in their mind, they have their own version of what you should be. So I always tell people, sometimes it's just a complete outsider's opinion. I drove Lyft for a little bit off and on through all these jobs, and in driving with them, sometimes I throw an idea at them, so we're gonna see what they say. Because you know what, you're just a taxi cab driver, giving them a random idea, And sometimes I'd say, oh, I think that's a great idea for you. If you got nothing going on here, why not try your luck someplace else? So with all that being said, it sort of kind of brought me to this position I am now, right? Where I'm in my mid-30s now. I've, settled down for a little bit. I'm, married with a stepdaughter, and I love it. I love it. Part of me is always going to love the adventure, I think, and then the other half of it's always wanting to meet new people, solve new problems. I think there's something to be said that it can be a boring life once you settle down, some people love that stability, some others not so much. But with all that being said, I'm going to help you. I know that, you probably just clicked on this video randomly and you're thinking yourself, this is some random guy on YouTube just asking to help me solve my problems. Yeah, pretty much. I don't know what your problems are. I don't exactly know what the easy solution is to your problems. But as a taxi cab driver, as someone who's done a pretty good job dealing with his, I would love to hear yours. Some of you, it's going to be pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Hey, I think you're single, you're young, go travel somewhere. I don't have the money. Who said you needed money? Right? There is a plethora of different ways that you can move around the country with very, very limited funds. That's something that maybe we'll go over in my next video, is so you want to travel and how do you get there. But anyway, guys, this is my introduction, I guess. This is who I am. This is how I've done my life. If you have any questions, you'd love to reach out. If you'd be a guest and share your experiences, you can reach out at dannypereira@gmail.com. And appreciate it, guys. Have a great one.
My child, you keep replaying what I have already covered. You wear shame like armor and wonder why you feel so heavy. You say you believe the cross, then act like you still owe me. Listen, my son did not die to make you a permanent debtor. He died to make you free. Bring me the moment that haunts you. Say it plain, no spin, no excuses. I will not flinch, I will not leave. The blood of Jesus is not weak. It cleanses what you cannot clean and breaks what you cannot break. Repentance is not you earning your way back. It is you walking through the door I already opened. So come, lay down the self-punishment, the silent distance, the vows that you'll do better alone. Let my mercy teach you a new way. Confess quickly, receive fully, obey today. You are not your worst day. You are mine. I am not keeping a secret score against you. Walk in the light with me, head up, heart clean, steps steady. When the accusation returns, answer it with what is finished.